The top two running backs stand alone in fantasy. It is clear as ESPN's early rankings have come out. But who will be the breakout running back this year? That's right. Welcome back to the Fantasy Football Channel. We are stepping into the ring. We are giving you our take on ESPN's top 45 running backs. Adam, how you doing today?
I am doing wonderful. Happy Friday to you, Broheim. How you doing over there?
Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Hollywood.
Hollywood, we're coming,
Cheers.
baby. You're bringing the heat today. I can tell. Cheers. Get a little caffeine going. You're bringing the heat. And why not? Running backs, baby. This is what we live for. We run a big standard league, so we love talking about running backs. We got 45 to get through. So we're going to get right on into it.
Let's get it.
We're going to kind of break it down 1 through 5, 6 through 10, and then going by 10s after that. Without a doubt, there is two running backs that led the charge last year. It is Bijan and Jahmyr Gibbs at the 1 and 2. We're going to start with that debate right here. I am taking Jahmyr Gibbs over Bijan, which I think is contrary to you. The reason for it is no more Montgomery there. I think he's going to get more overall volume in targets, and I think Detroit has a better run offensive line. What do you think over there?
24 years old. I have been in the Bijan camp. However, I am starting to shift more 50-50 here. Ooh. They were separated by about 3 or 4 fantasy points last year. And the absence of David Montgomery, granted, Tyler Algier, et cetera, took some work, but I just feel like Isaiah Pacheco is a tier down from David Montgomery. So I just think this is going to be the Gibbs show this year.
Yeah. Yep, I agree with you on that. And then if there's any 49ers fans sitting out there right now, they're pissed off, waving us their middle finger because the leading rusher, the leading running back last year, CMC, 416 points, 46 points more than Bijan, who was the next closest. So the ESPN world is doing CMC a little dirty here, a little injury factor, a little age factor into that. I traded for him last year, and let me tell you, he won me a championship.
Yeah, I mean, in redraft, it's hard to fight that, but we have to. He is 30 years old. We know there's a, 29-ish year cliff that only Derrick Henry seems to surpass and a few others. So you just have to take that into consideration, and I would just much rather have the younger guys.
Yep. Nope, absolutely. And don't wish it on the man, but he does go injured about every other year. We are looking at a fresh year last year. So
Yep. So ESPN's got CMC at running back 3, Jonathan Taylor at 4, A-Chain at 5. I will say these top 5 running backs are the same top 5 that finished top 5 last year. They're just in a little bit different order from ESPN. And I do think I could even see a case for JT or A-Chain over CMC due to similar factors, age, risk level here. But I don't know. And for me, I still have a CMC share in Dynasty. So it makes me less want to draft him elsewhere just to spread my risk around a little bit.
Especially makes sense for him. For a player like him, that especially makes sense. You don't want 3 CMCs headed into the season.
Yep. Jonathan Taylor is 27, so he's getting close to that age cliff. But with a new resurgence of a Danny Dimes last year, wow, he was crushing it for most people, especially the first 10 weeks. He was like RB1, I believe. So something to consider there. That's why he's the clear 4th. A-Chain, there's more of a gamble here. I'll let you get your take on these guys, but definitely with the reshaped Miami coaching and offense here, less the divas and addition of Malik. I like A-Chain, but I do feel like Malik is going to probably vulture some touchdowns here. And they do have Ollie Gordon and Jalen Wright behind him, who are 2 good running backs and got red zone work. Ollie Gordon got a good amount of red zone work last year. So that just has me a little bit paused on those.
Jonathan Taylor, just to echo that, he was sold off last year as if he was no longer a top 10 guy. They brought in Danny Dimes, and he was one of the most value upsided running backs in the draft last year. Jonathan Taylor, you cannot sell him out. He'll be a top 5 running back this year. Danny Dimes is coming back. Now, the Dolphins and A-Chain, this breaks my heart a little bit because the Dolphins have eviscerated their team. They are clearly tanking. They're getting rid of their weapons and Waddle and Tyreek and Tua and everything else. So they're rebuilding, okay? Had they not be rebuilding, I would love A-Chain, maybe his top 3 here. But since Malik is going to take some rushing carries away, some touchdowns away, and since they're going to be behind and throwing the ball a lot, I mean, a lot of these variables stack up and are not good for A-Chain's value. With that said, the dude's amazing. He proved to be an every down back at his lightweight. He's 24 years old. So take those variables away, and the dude's talent is there and amazing. Yep. But we have some concerns with the Dolphins this year. Moving on, 6 through 10 in this order. James Cook, the touchdown machine. Ashton Jeanty at number 7. Saquon Barkley, 29 years old. Josh Jacobs, and the King Henry, 32 years old. That is 6 through 10. Kyle, I know you love yourself some Cook. James Cook is then the number 1 rushing offense in the NFL. It's hard to not want him at 6.
Yeah, the last 2 years, I've just been pounding the table on this guy, and it's worked. It's struck gold. He was, somewhere between 12 and 15 RB in most people's rankings outside the season, I believe. And I'm telling you, he is just a difference maker on that team with a great offensive line. And now it's priced in. All right. Every other year, I'm like, value, value, value. This is going to help you win your league. This year, it's priced in, so I probably won't be drafting as much of him. Still love the player, right? Don't get me wrong. I think he's a fine running back, but I'll have less of him. Jeanty, obviously, we all hoped he had a better first rookie year, but it wasn't his fault. It was Raiders organization, the Raiders offensive line. Yes, the very, very bad offensive line. This dude was getting hit in the backfield like every play. Still showed like he will be a great NFL running back, and I would like to get more of him this year. I think the team will be a bit improved. It's got nowhere to go but up. And then the problem is it is also priced in now at running back 7. But I do like some Jeanty.
With Jeanty here, the biggest issue is when you have a top 10 talent with a bottom 10 offensive line, that talent does not outweigh that offensive line. He is in the top 10, and there is 10 running backs behind him with much better offensive lines and similar, if not slightly less talent. Due to that, Jeanty should not be in the top 10 here. We saw this happen last year. The dude had 2 or 3 games that vaulted his average up. Without those 2 or 3 30-point games, the dude was average. And it's not him as much as
I'm disagreeing with you 100%. He deserves to be in the top 10. I want it. It's just a little steep at running back 7. The dude finished as running back 11 last year with that offensive line. You don't think he'll be in the top 10 this year?
No, I don't.
I will guarantee. I'll put you $20 he's in the top 10 this year.
If no injury clause in there, I will take it. You don't get an injury clause.
Well, you got to have an injury clause. You can't. That's crap.
Nope, that's all right. He's not confident either, folks. I just called him on his bluff.
I'll take it all day without an injury. That's not even playing fair. All right, Saquon Barkley coming in at running back 8. Bit of a slide last year, finished outside the top 10, which isn't usual for what we saw from him in the past. Elite carrier. He is 29 years old now, so he is smack dab on the drop-off of the age of running back. Still, this guy is a physical beast.
Yeah, they need to get back to handing him the ball off and giving him the amount of touches because he lost about 60 touches from 2 years ago to last year, and the Eagles looked like shit. Let's call a spade a spade. When they stopped running the ball and stopped giving him productive, their offense struggled mightily. Jalen Hurts is not the elite passer everyone wants him to be. He's a great quarterback and a great rusher, but never will he ever be an elite passer. Due to that, you got to run the football. That's how their team is built. That's how their offensive line is built. Saquon, I'm selling on that due to his age.
I can't fault these players, honestly. I think a lot of it is the coordinator position, the lack of consistency.
They have a new one for the 5th year in a row.
Turning over the coordinator position. It's hard for any quarterback to be consistent and to get better. Yep. Any running back, any offense line, receiver, etc. So I'm kind of leaning toward I think these players are all fine. It just depends on where you draft them, and you're gambling again at the coordinator position. Yep. If I think this guy for me 100% draft pendant. If some of the other guys around him are gone and I need a running back, I'll take some shares. But I'm not overly excited to have him as my 1 because that's where most of these guys are going to be. They're going to be your number 1 running back, right?
Yep.
Josh Jacobs, 28, also at that running back cliff. He had a nagging injury last year, and he kept playing through it for better or worse, and he ended up as running back 13. What's your take on that?
Josh Jacobs, less fantasy comment, more so. This is the best running back acquisition the Green Bay Packers have ever had in their entire career. This guy came in and did nothing but produce. He shut his mouth. He led the team, and he just worked. And that's what he's doing, and that's what he's going to do on your fantasy team again this year. I like him more as an RB2. If you need him as an RB1, I get it, especially in PPR leagues. But if you get him as an RB2, that is where you're looking juicy. The dude's a workhorse. No one behind him is going to take his work over. Love me some Josh Jacobs. Great player.
Okay. King Henry falls to 10. Guy is 32 years old and just
Woo-wee.
continues to do it. He was probably a little frustrating for some managers last year, but
Very
he did
frustrating.
still finish as RB8.
Yep.
So,
16 points a game. However, when he did not have Lamar Jackson on the field, it showed. And Lamar was
mhm.
hurt the whole middle of the season last year, and it dampened Henry's value quite a bit. So that's something to keep tabs on. I do think
Yeah.
Henry, due to the age and is falling off a little bit because of the team, you might be able to get him, at a little better value this year due to his
Yeah.
age and people being worried about that. So that's where
That's
there
how
could
I
be some
feel.
sneakiness if you get him as RB2 and, after the second or third round, if he's still there or something like that.
Yeah, I think, you're already getting him at a value for where he finished last year. You're really
Mm-hmm.
just worried about the age of a further runoff, or you could get a bounce and he could be a little better. So I'm fine with where he's currently at. 11 through 20, I'll hit you the list. Hampton, Chase Brown, Kenny Walker, Brees Hall, Javonte Williams, Kyron, Etienne, Scadaboo, Bucky, Judkins. My take on the first two, I really like Hampton and Chase Brown. I do think those guys have higher shots to finish inside the top 10 than anybody else probably in this tier. Then maybe Kenny Walker next. Hampton, when he was there with playing with this offense, right? Like, it's less about him and more about how well this offense does running the ball, I think. But he is talented enough to be a great top 10 guy with this offense. And then Chase Brown, much better second half of the season. He still is 26 years old. So for redraft, I like both these guys a lot. Kenny Walker next up at 25 with the Chiefs, Kansas City Chiefs. You're a little higher on him than I am. I think I like Hampton and Chase better. What's up on your three here?
Yeah, I just want to take a note to say, in terms of draft strategy, this is where the 6 through 10 is very confusing with what ESPN did here. Let me tell you why. 8 through 10, Barkley, Jacobs, Henry, 28 or older. And then let's look at the next age here. I like 11 through 20 a lot better than those 8 through 10. So for value's sake, when you're in your drafts, Hampton, Chase Brown, I like all those guys with more upside, more youth than at 8 through 10 there. Amari and Hampton is by far my favorite on this roster because he was injured last year. He wasn't able to do his full production. He's on the most rushing focused team with a good quarterback and a coach that is going to pound the rock. Amari and Hampton will be a top 6 running back this year
Oh, that's bold.
as
That's
long as he
bold.
stays healthy. I know I kind of burned you on that one. But anyways, I know you like Chase Brown. Chase Brown,
Yeah.
phenomenal year without having Joe Burrow. So that's another steal. It's going to be a top 10 as long as Joe Burrow stays healthy. Ken Walker, I don't know why the world's doing him dirty. That dude's a freak show. And he's now going on, I'd say, a better offense, even though, I'm going to say the Chiefs are a better offense than Seattle.
Chase Brown finished as running back 7 last year in PPR, and they have him projected at running back 12 right now. So,
Yep. The Brees Hall thing, now this is interesting. This dude said last year how this team didn't want him on the team anymore. And what do? They give him the bullying franchise tag, piss him off even more, limit his money, keep him in New York for one more year when they already don't want him there. So I feel bad for Brees Hall on this one. I would have loved to see him on another team because he has a freak talent, but he has not really done what he should be doing because of the Jets.
yeah, unfortunately, I love this player, but I'm mostly just staying away.
Yeah.
I don't like the risk. I didn't see enough last year with the coach and the offense to want to buy into this, and I don't believe in Geno Smith enough to make any big of a difference. And franchising him certainly wouldn't make him any happier. So I'm mostly passing on this. He'll be much further down on my rankings, unfortunately. Javonte Williams, 26 years old. What a year last
Breakout.
year in Dallas. What a
Breakout
year.
candidate.
We left him for dead, and wow, did he come back after that injury in Denver and having a struggle there. So
We sat
congrats
there
to
and
him.
we pounded the table and said, Dallas, they're not even going to run the football this year. They got Dak back. They got their 2 weapons. And sure as shit, Javonte and that offensive line pounded the rock. Kyron Williams. Dude is always undervalued.
Yep,
And I
perpetual
can't
undervalued
figure
player.
out why.
Yep.
There's only one reason now that I know you'll get into with his backup behind him. I love Kyron Williams. I love the organization. He always gets enough volume to be top 10, top 20, relatable. But I know there is someone that chipped into his volume last year, and that was the first year we saw that in Blake Corum.
Yeah, so Blake Corum was more efficient on per touch basis last year. Kyron did finish as running back 9 PPR, even with the vulturing of Devontae Adams. The previous year before Devontae Adams, Kyron was the red zone guy.
Yep.
Now Devontae Adams took that
every
role
time
over,
they threw it up. Every time.
It's hard for me to want to be really excited about him, but here at 16, when he finished as 9 last year, like
26 years old.
Maybe there's some value there. Yes.
There is.
And if I needed a running back when he came around, et cetera, sure, I'll take some. I'm just not excited about it. And I could see a year where Blake Corum gets even better and you see a little more go his way. You know, like almost a complete 50-50 is kind of what they were getting at toward the end of last year, I believe.
You know, one other factor with Kyren and that Rams offense is the way Stafford plays, the way they move the ball. They just get so many more opportunities than other running backs because Stafford can drive it down the field every possession. So it's just it just gives those guys
Devontae as well.
For sure. But when you're getting in the red zone 60% of your possessions or whatever it is, it's like there's just so much more potential there.
Yeah, it's just being in a good offense. But
as opposed to a Genty.
Yeah, especially last year. ETN coming in at a new team here. Running back 17 from ESPN goes to the Saints. We left him for dead last year as well. Complete resurgence over there in Jacksonville with Liam Cohen as the new head coach. And then they get shipped off. So I think there's value here in PPR. Again, not something I'm overly excited about it, but if I needed a running back in PPR and he was around this range, I'd probably be fine.
You're kind of doing him a little dirty. He finished as running back 10 last year. He's only 27, going on to a new team in which he's going to get all the volume. He's going to be the next Kamara for this team. And like I said, he finished his top 10 running back. He's great in the receiving game. I see no reason he is not going to finish his top 12 running back again. So this 17 positioning is doing him a little dirty.
Okay, well, let me tell you this. I see you're excited about him. I may be, a little dirty. Guys after him, the next three, Scadaboo, Bucky, and Judkins. Would you rather have him over any of those three? Yeah.
I would rather have Scadaboo and Bucky. I would rather have Scadaboo and Bucky than him.
Okay. Yeah. So I like those few guys.
Would I rather have ETN? Would I rather have ETN over Breece and Javonte? And
probably. Okay, so yeah, we'll shake that stuff up. And then next up, Scadaboo.
Scadaboo, that's my guy. That is my guy. I reached up from the draft for him Dynasty last year. I traded a third and fourth just to get another third to get him, and that worked out well because he is the Energizer Bunny from hell of all running backs.
You're like
an essential cog in this giant machine.
That's my guy out there.
That's my guy.
There he is.
Because in the combine he ran like a 4.7 40, and everyone's like, "Oh, can this guy even do anything?" I'm like, "Dude, this dude has the tenacity of a wild effing animal, and that is what the NFL needs." And he went out and did it. He was
like
bold
the Energizer Bunny. Yeah,
he is, and he can catch well. He can block well. He runs with. So I cannot wait to see him have a fully healthy year. I have him on Dynasty, and I'll be cheering this cat as long as he plays in the NFL.
Yeah, I think most of us were pretty surprised with his productivity when he was in there last year.
Not me. That's why I drafted up for him.
So, yeah, and then Bucky, you believe in a bounce. He is only 24 years old. You believe in a bounce for Bucky in Tampa Bay.
I absolutely do because they got rid of Rachaad White. They are now focusing on him more. The dude just needs to stay healthy. Stay healthy, and he's going to be electric.
Yeah, I think I like the next guy better. Quinshon Judkins. He proved he can do it in the NFL at a very high level.
The Browns running back over the Buccaneers proven Bucky Irving. I don't know about that. I would say hell no.
Well, here's my thought process is Tampa Bay post offensive coordinator change just last year. They were not able to do anything like they were able the year before. So I'm just a little concerned overall with the offense.
They didn't have Bucky. And they didn't have Bucky. Mike Evans was dead. Chris Godwin was dead. They're three superstars who helped spread the field for them. Yeah. We're dead. How can they move the ball when you got Baker throwing to two 18-year-old kids out there? Like, that's going to be tough.
Yeah, that's fine. That's a fine excuse, but I still didn't see enough. But I do recognize that there could be some bounce value here. So if you want to put the probability onto some of that, absolutely. And if you own him for Dynasty, I'd also be more excited because you're not going to sell him low.
We are bouncing. We're bouncing high. 21 through 30 running backs.
I like Hubbard. This tier a lot less. This is a big drop off to me. The 1 through 20 are a lot better.
If you don't have two running backs or one or two in the first 20, you're going to be hurting with your 0 RB. But we do have a couple sleepers for you.
We got a couple guys in here. Oh, yeah.
21 through 30. Chuba Hubbard, 27 years old. Travion Henderson, DeAndre Swift, Tootin, Pollard, J.K. Dobbins, 26. David Montgomery, 27. Aaron Jones Sr., 28. James Conner, he's 31 years old. And Ramondre Stevenson at running back, 30. Kyle, when you hear that, which one of these stands out to you the most that they should be higher on this list, as in better?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna steal one from your book right now. I do think
I know
J.K.
you ain't taking.
Dobbins,
Oh, you son of a
J.K.
bitch! You
Dobbins on
son of
this
a
list. He's
unbelievable.
the clear
Run the
starter
tape
on a
back from last year.
great offense.
This guy
So I
sold
think
Dobbins
he
all
jumps
last
out.
year.
He jumps out ahead of some of these guys. And then Tootin is actually the guy I'd probably draft the most in this set of players because he's positioned to take over the lead back duties, and this is like massive upside.
Yeah, I think there'll be quite a bit of a time split in that backfield. But yes, J.K. Dobbins is the best one on here.
With
And another,
who? With who? Unless they draft somebody.
they got I don't put me on the spot. I can't think of it right now. But the other one on here that I like for touchdown dependency, definitely not in PPR or full point PPR at least. David Montgomery as a touchdown machine, now freshly in Houston. I think he will still get all the red zone and goal line work there. However, that Houston offense does look a
Offensive
bit
line.
shaky.
Yep.
It looks a bit shaky, but hey, it was from this list. It was from this list.
All right. Okay.
The other one we probably should have said is Chuba, since they no longer have Rico Dowdle there. We probably should have pointed that one out as well. But
yeah, I mean, so Chuba and the guy behind him, right? This is an interesting one for me. So
I can't wait for the comments on how we say Chuba.
That's Jonathan Brooks. He's only 22 years old. He's coming off a knee injury, and he is a second NFL round draft player, high prospect coming out of college. So I'm kind of excited to see what he can do. Yeah. And I think there is a world where he is the gamble, but he is the upside play. If it works out, I think that guy has a chance to be top 20, top 15, and Chuba will either move further down. If he does not work out, then I think you will find good value in Chuba at this draft price.
All right. He said it.
I'm also going to say I like Travion Henderson in here for a continued improvement, a sophomore pump, if you will. Fade and Tony Pollard, unfortunately, great player. Aaron Jones, senior, 31 years old. I got to fade him as well. Stevenson is a few pegs down than where he finished last year in these projections, but I had him last year, and when I had him on my bench, I never felt good about getting him in my lineup, so I'm probably fading him too. Very limited upside, in my opinion. And then James Conner is interesting. They're bringing Tyler Algier over there. So, otherwise, there could be some value with James Conner here, but at that age, it's tough for me to want to draft.
I love James Conner and how he runs, but due to how he runs, that body's got to crack at around 31, 32, I'm afraid.
He ain't no King Henry.
He ain't no King Henry. He's like a King Henry Jr., though, with how he runs. That dude's
I will say, like, he's probably, of the active running backs, he's second to Henry.
Yeah, in terms of
physical, right. Age, skill.
31 through 40, we got R.J. Harvey, Jaylen Warren, Rico Dowdle, Kenny Gainwell, Kyle Monangai, Zach Charbonnet, Rachaad White, now a Commander at 37, Woody Marks at 38, Alvin Kamara at 39, just retire Alvin, Blake Corum at 40. Ooh. All right.
Yeah, so R.J. Harvey starts off the tier. I like Harvey. Especially in a PPR, he will not be the first and second down guy.
You get off my Dobbins. He's my guy.
I like both of these guys for the positions and how they're going to be using that offense at values on your team. PPR, you're going to get some work out of RJ Harvey. He's not going to be the first and second down guy, though, barring an injury. Jaylen Warren, to me, we've seen what he is. He's had moments of good fantasy production, I would say. Rico Dowdle, the man behind him. So ESPN's got both the Steelers running backs right now at 32 and 33. And I think Dowdle has the upside. So if I'm a drafting manager, I'm going to take Dowdle over him just at the chance he outperforms. Dowdle had some moments of greatness last year and some fantasy impact for sure.
He was like 8 straight weeks the best running back in the NFL last year. So
yeah,
he had a large
I don't
moment
know
of
that
greatness.
The Steelers' offensive line is as good as Carolina's, so I wouldn't be overly excited. But if I was going to take some shots, I'd rather take some shots on Dowdle here. Takes?
Yeah, I like your take on Rico. I think Rico is definitely a serious value play. He proved he was a number 1 running back last year. Kyle Monangai, that's a Bears running back. I won't ever be on the back of a Bears running back. Why? Because the Bears still suck, and that's just facts. Someone on this list I do love, Zach Charbonnet, and why? Well, we already
on this list.
Biggest one already said it. Ken Walker is no longer there. Charbonnet was the 1B to his 1A, and now he is the one with no letter if they don't bring in anyone else after him on a wonderful offense with a great offensive line. So Zach Charbonnet at 36, this is laughable unless they bring in and draft a bunch of cats here.
Yeah. Right now, Charbonnet and Tootin are my two most underrated ESPN rankings here out of the initial gate from what I'm seeing currently today, 4/10/2026 at 1:06 p.m.
PPR alert. Love the timestamp there. PPR alert. Rachaad White, no longer a Buccaneer. He is now a Commander. And this Commander backfield is a bit trippy. You got Eckler, who is 46 years old. I'm just kidding, but pretty close to. And then the new guy, Bill, who clearly was inconsistent enough where they didn't trust him enough to be the guy. And then they bring in Rachaad White, which tells me they don't trust Bill even less. And they love to throw to running backs in this organization. So I see Rachaad White as a sneaky PPR play where you could plug and play and flex him this year, especially if Bill keeps doing what Bill does, which is not increase in volume.
Yeah, Hernandez is also no longer there. He was a physical runner they had in the depth room. This room, it just scares me. I don't know. This is like deeper PPR leagues that would maybe play with this. Otherwise, I probably am just going to stay away from this. I don't like this enough. You also have a mobile quarterback. And last year they had a bad offense. So, I'm staying away for the most part right now.
If there was a running back on that team, it would be this one. And in a PPR league, outside of that, I agree with you. Stay clear of the Commanders until we know what the hell is going on.
So nobody believes in Bill anymore is what it looks like.
He's got to prove it now. I'm afraid his back's against the wall. Okay.
Rachaad White is at a 27-year-old. Next up, Woody Marks. Well, last year he did pretty well, but they did bring in David Montgomery. Again, this is a bad offense line. He finished as running back 29 last year.
No kidding.
Currently, ESPN's got him at running back 38. Obviously, with the acquisition of David Montgomery, he did have Nick Chubb there as well last year. So maybe deeper league value. Otherwise, it's hard to get excited about, especially with the addition of David Montgomery, who I believe is better than Nick Chubb.
Unless if getting 2.8 yards per carry excites you, then you can get pretty excited about a Houston running back because that's about what it looks like when they run the ball. It is terrible.
Yeah, they really need to do more work on the offensive line. Alvin Kamara, 31 years old. I'm pretty much out on him. And is there anything you'd be excited about?
Nope, just retire.
Okay. Blake Corum. I like Blake Corum at 40. In the event that it is the 50-50 split, especially PPR, he's the better pass-catching running back. And I think there was even, we'd have to pull out the metrics, but I do think on a touch basis, he probably outperformed Kyron from what I remember.
I don't know about that. I will say this is a steal here. It's not a 50-50 split. 60-40 is how this will ride out as it rode out last year. Kyron Williams is a better running back than Blake Corum, but Blake Corum is good, and he's sneaking up behind him. That's my take. 41 through 45. First one on here I like a lot. Tyler Algier, now on the Cardinals, who rode in the shadows of Bijan Robinson for the last 3 years. This is a talent at running back. He just was in Bijan's shadow, and I think that he's about to come out of that shadow with the Cardinals and replace James Conner as a running back on this team. At 41, Tyler Algier is a great sleeper value. The rest of them, Chris Rodriguez, Tajay Spears, Jonathan Brooks. Dude still plays. We'll find out. And at 45, Isaiah Pacheco. Wow.
Yeah, I'm most excited about Jonathan Brooks here, mostly for the unknown, optimistic upside really is it. Tajay Spears, we kind of know what he is, some value PPR. Pacheco, new team. I think, he may have some value in a standard deeper league. Otherwise, I'm mostly going to be out on him. Algier is interesting. I do think with Connor's age and injury history, I do think Algier could be a good value for your team if you punt running back and you get one later.
He's better than Trey Benson. He's better than James Conner at this age, and he will become the clear-cut guy on this team.
So, yeah, I guess in the last year, I don't mind some Algier, but I'd still rather have Jonathan Brooks just for the chance. So you're saying there's a chance?
You're saying there's a chance. Yeah, I like that. It goes right in line. You always have one of those people on your team every year, someone that's either in jail or injured or coming hard off something. And you're like, let's take a flyer. Nope, I like that. It's a good way to win. Okay, Kyle. Who in the bottom 10 has the best chance of becoming a top 15 running back this season? Bottom 10. So 35 through 45. Ooh.
It's going to be Zach Charbonnet.
spoke to me as well as soon as I said it. All right, we're going to flip that script for you, though. Who in the top 10 has the best chance of being bottom 20?
I mean, outside of injury,
No injuries.
I don't think any of these guys finishes outside of the top. What is it? The top how many?
You got to pick. I said bottom 20, which I know was kind of stupid, but nonetheless. So,
was gonna
20,
say, how far is
25
the
to
bottom?
40. 25 to 45, you knucklehead.
I mean, outside of injury, I don't think any of these guys do. But I will just say Henry in the event that he has the age cliff and something else happens, I guess.
I was going to say Barkley for him to get injured, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, injury, it's a higher risk of injury at this age, and the drop off is really all you can say there.
Okay. All right. Well, I tried to get you tripping a little bit. We got you thinking a little bit.
All right, folks, if you're still hanging on with us, like, subscribe, tell us how much you love Adam's hair and how much he looks like fantasy football Jesus. Thanks for tuning in to the Fantasy Football Channel. We'll catch you guys in the next one.